Hey friends, it's me, Dave Landau. After a long night on stage, I like to kick back with a captain's hat and a fine cigar and watch the Dennis and Andy show. These guys are huge nerds, but they're the kind that you actually want to hang out with. Enjoy them. I do.
Back us on Indiegogo.
Well, hello, everybody. It would help if I actually had the button pressed.
He tried. He was like,
I was like, damn it. Why isn't it working? It is Wednesday, which means it is Wacky Wednesday on the Dennis and Andy show.
New Funny Book Wednesday.
Yeah.
I did. I went and picked up my books as usual. I got all my brand new indie, great reading for the week. But most importantly, I still had time to write a little more for this guy to draw.
That's right. And Dave Landau, who introduced us, we'll be seeing him and Steven Crowder live from Nashville on Saturday night. So I'm looking forward to that. Randy Howell in the chat, thank you for posting the link to Kor-Drath. Go back it now. You could be the one that cracks the $65,000 barrier for us. We're only $158 away. So do that.
We're closing in on the 70,000 barrier, which will get you that brand new spanking world map of the Shattered Reach.
That's right. Hyper Kaiju, yo, what is up? Marcus is in the house. Here we go. Dave the Space Wizard, let's go. That's what I'm talking about. Let's do this. Tech Zombie, hell yeah. My man Rob Hunter, Kor-Drath is the coolest. Thank you, Rob. Super appreciate that, brother. We'll have to have you on the show one time coming up here soon. Blackjack, hail CG, hail to you. So we do have a guest today. As always, we like to bring you guys a different guest every week. Somebody that's new to the scene, not to comics, but just to the crowdfunding scene and stuff. Or maybe it's somebody that has been around for a while that we just want to bring on and talk to. But this guy is new to the crowdfunding scene, but he is not new to the business. He actually, put it this way, when I was going up to DC Comics, showing my my samples to the likes of Andy Helfer, I remember seeing this gentleman's pages in Andy's office, and Andy looking at him, getting ready to send them out to the letterer. Without further ado, we are bringing on Chris Wozniak. Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, did I pronounce your last name right, by the way?
Yeah, Wozniak is fine.
Wozniak, there you go.
My brother says Wozniak. I have no idea why we're related. He just
really
took it upon himself. Yeah.
He just wants to mess with. He's like, no,
I
I'm
have
say it this way.
no idea why. Yeah.
This
But
feels like an epic match, one in each corner, but only one can be pronounced properly.
That's right.
I think I'd win. Yeah. So that
Yeah.
you mentioned Andy Helfer's office. That's a memory. Going back there.
Yeah,
Spent a
you were working on. I remember it vividly because I was going up there with Bart. I was in the Kubert school still, and Bart took me up because he was dropping pages off for Justice League Europe.
Bart Sears.
And yep,
Yeah, I have a
and
Bart Sears story.
he introduced me to Andy, and I showed him samples and stuff. So yeah,
Yeah, that's funny because Bart was doing character designs, I think, or toy designs at Hasbro.
yep,
And he had sent like a folder full of
Yeah.
samples of his drawings and everything. And Andy, asked, it was just me and him in the office. He asked me what I thought of Bart, because he thought, Andy at the time, he thought like Bart's style was weird, but it was really interesting, which is, I think, what everybody thinks, about Bart's stuff. And he asked me what I thought, and I said, I think he's awesome. I think you should hire him. And he just he called him right there on the spot and hired him while I was sitting there.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting. I got to tell Bart that story. So
I think I put it on one of his Facebook posts or something, because
oh yeah, I did see
I totally
that.
forgot about that. But he mentioned Andy, and I was like, oh yeah, I was there when
Yeah, I did see that post. And there's the link for the sign up for your campaign that's
Thank
going to
you.
be coming soon, which we will talk about. Penelope Powerhouse. I love the iteration of that. So
Yeah.
very
Yeah. She started as a cutie pie little kids character. We were doing it. We were going to do it as a children's book. I had a comic book company a few years back for quite a while, and it was just a whole line of children's books that me and Chuck Dixon designed.
oh cool.
Created and everything. She was left over from one of those. I inherited, I don't know, maybe 12 or even as many as 20 IPs or something. So, that's where that came from.
Oh, that's cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So you're making a comic book with Penelope Powerhouse.
It's not a children's book anymore.
No, it's
Yeah,
not
I was gonna
anymore.
say.
I can tell that just by the
Yeah.
dialogue on that cover.
Yeah, it's a little more Rick and Morty.
Dude, you colored this too, right?
That one I do color. I did not color that one. I colored
okay.
the ad. On the whole book, though, I'm doing everything myself. I'm writing, penciling, inking, lettering. That's my packaging, everything. But coloring, which I also do, I'm slow at it. And I was like, that's the one thing I'm just going to farm out. It's, So this is Diane Noriega. She's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah,
dude, that is really that's a really nice looking cover. The color scheme,
colors really pop right off.
Yeah, well, it's real important. We had a little back and forth. Just trying to explain to her that this is a sun goddess. Everything's got to be like if she's on the page, everything's bright and sunny. It's super cheerful. Everything's got to be real saturated. Every scene in the book is pure sky blue. There's not a cloud in it. We just got to just relentlessly reinforce that with the reader. She's a force of nature, basically.
Yeah, dude, that's really. I think it's great looking. So, and it's so different. Like I haven't seen your work in a long time. So honestly, when I think of, what's that?
I haven't drawn in a long time. I can't remember last time I drew a comic.
Oh, okay. Well, it's funny because I know you run a group on Facebook that I'm part of. So I see stuff you post and stuff, but I haven't seen your stuff in so long. So
I basically, I'll ink and draw, make sure a little bit just to keep some level of skills up.
Yeah.
But I haven't tried to draw a comic in forever. It was like, because I've been on the writing and editing side of things, for years,
Right.
And, but, when it came to this, it was, it's that old, saying, if you want to do it right, you got to do it yourself, It's hard to get what's in your mind across,
Sure.
So you got to show.
No, dude, that's very cool looking. Let's see. Let's show a little bit more. That's really cool.
Page 1, yeah.
That is just, how much of this is done?
Well, here's the thing. When I made the video, that's basically where I created this new version of it.
Oh, okay.
Just kind of did it in the video while I just made up the video as it went along and put it all together. And then I started to work on the comic book. But then I had a television producer see the video, and we had some interest in it, and he invited me to write a pilot episode.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, so I did that. And but obviously, if you're going to write a TV pilot, you want it to, be real cherry, and so I was very, very laser focused when I did it, and but by the time it was over, because I had to write in the TV parameters, but I was super happy with it, how it came out. So I decided to drop the work I had done on the book so far and restart using the TV pilot script. And so I had like maybe 8 pages, and now, so I dropped that, and now we're at like 10 pages, 11 pages, something like that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Sweet. Let's look at more. I love looking at this stuff. Man, I tell you, the lettering is, the lettering's really nice. I don't do my own lettering because even though I know how to, I'm just not that good at it.
Yeah, I'm slow at it too. I thought about farming that out too, but basically like on the page, sometimes you have to do some edits to make something fit, to reword something, to come up for a shortcoming that might be in the image or something. And I thought, it's better just to have control of that than to send it out and have it come back and I go, maybe it's better if she says this, and so I'm just doing it. Yeah,
that's cool. I actually want to, I forgot about the trailer, so I want to remove this and find that.
Well, while we're doing that, one of the things we always like to ask our brand new guests to our show, first timers, is your origin story. How did you get into comics in the first place?
That is, I grew up reading comics, and my uncle had a huge stash of, he had all the early Marvel stuff. I mean, all of it, like full run of Spidey, Daredevil, Avengers. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, he had a shelf with everything. I'm trying to think of a major character he didn't have. But he had everything, that Marvel put out, every big title, FF, going up to maybe like 72 when I was old enough to sneak in there and start, seeing stuff. So, that's what gave me my love of comics, is being able to have access to so much of that stuff, but how I actually got into comics, that's a whole nother story. I did go to an art high school that my brother went to, but I had, I couldn't afford to go to college. I was from the projects and everything.
Yeah.
And so basically, drawing comics, you don't need a degree or anything, so it was one of those things. So I basically, started working on that and just made myself, a pain in the ass at the office, Andy Helfer's office, as it happens, and you just pester people enough, and, you're there at the right time. And they were canceling a book, and get this, because it had gotten to 60,000.
Oh yeah.
In those days, that was a cutoff. It was like, 60,000, this is a failure.
Yeah. Wow.
We got to can this book. And they would only really do it if someone was really attached to it, one of the creative people, they would let it go. And that's the case here, that the writer, it was Doug Mensch, he wanted to, he liked it, but they, but Dick came in. It was Dick Giordano was in Andy Helfer's office, and he basically said, look, you got to change something, you got to, switch artists or something. And he just looked at me. He was like, give it to him, and that's what happened.
What book was it? Do you remember?
Spectre.
Oh, you know what?
Really?
I was going to say Spectre, not because of anything other than Doug. As soon as you said Doug, the first thing that came to mind, obviously it's not Batman. So I was like, Spectre. So that's interesting.
Yeah, it was just, right place at the right time. Cause I had, had gotten a little bit of inking work. And that's basically how I started, was inking. And then I made the mistake of showing penciling samples, and they were like, "Oh, you can draw too?" And I was like, "Yeah, not what well, but I'll have a stab at it." And it was one of those things where I happened to be available when they were looking for somebody, and I started getting some penciling work.
42, which one?
Bronze Age Kid.
Let's see, what do we got here? Bronze Age Kid. I was a big fan of your DC stuff. Well, there you go. Thank you, Bronze Age.
Thank you. It was real nice.
Yeah, so do you remember what one of the key first books that just got you hooked was?
On as far as like being on the reading side of things? Oh, Spider-Man. It was like I said, my uncle had everything. He had a full run FF. Kirby weirded me out. I couldn't grasp it. The style was too strange for me. It took me years and years and years to warm up to Kirby. I like Buscema and stuff like that. I like I like the it was the beginning of that second wave of Marvel guys that came on. They were prettier. They were the guys like Romita. It wasn't Ditko and Kirby. Now it's Buscema, Romita, Gil Kane, more. Yeah, that type of thing. But he had everything. But it was always Spider-Man. Spider-Man took place in New York City. I was from New York City. It was Spider-Man was always my guy, 100%. And that's where it all came from. He had that one cover, issue 151 and 152, where he's in the sewer in the water. That's my favorite cover of all time. I would stare at that for ages. And and that's what it was. I was sneaking into my uncle's room, and where I wasn't supposed to be. And while he was out, trying to meet girls or whatever, he was like a teenager, trying to,
Oh, that's cool. So your uncle wasn't like a ton older than you.
No, he was 9 years older than me. So
okay.
Yeah.
See, I never had, my uncles were always a lot older. So
no, when I was like 10, sneaking into his stuff, he was like 19, trying to meet chicks or whatever. And so, but I always knew when I was in his room going through his collection that it was unlimited time. It's like, he might come back any minute and catch me. So, I basically, Spidey was my favorite. So I always gravitated to Spider-Man. I made sure I covered that I got some Spider-Man reading in. And then, if I had time to explore, the other stuff, then I would. So, but, Spider-Man first. And then after that, Avengers were, especially in those early days,
it's funny because that 151 you're talking about, besides that great cover, the inside is by Ross Andrew, inked by John Romita Sr. And it's just, like I love Ross's stuff, but when John Romita Sr. inked it, oof, it was just so
Ross.
good.
Yeah, Ross is my favorite Spider-Man artist. I mean, I grew up reading that stuff.
Yeah.
And Ross actually drew his last drawing in his life was a Spider-Man drawing for me that has since been stolen. But
no way.
Oh.
Yeah, as a real shame. But I knew somebody that knew him, and it was like I begged him basically, and he called him, and it was like a couple of weeks before he passed away, and it was a really nice Spidey sketch, pure Ross, and it's a shame that it's not around.
Wow.
Yeah.
So your uncle's collection, does he still have it?
Oh no, I think
no.
No, I think he took it all in one fell swoop and traded it in for a Camaro or something.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because so Aaron Lopresti used to have a complete run of Spider-Man, except for, I don't know if he started with number 2 or it started with number 6, but it was really early on, and he didn't have, the very beginning, first few issues. And I remember him saying that, he knew he probably would never get, Amazing Fantasy and Spider-Man 1 and 2 and stuff. So he sold the whole run and was able to get his pickup truck that he has now. I believe that's the story.
Yeah, so. That's those are hard choices, and and with all the reprints and everything, it's you're sitting there going, oh, I could still read them, but I could also have a pickup truck. It gets hard.
Oh yeah, I mean, I guess I'm lucky that the only things I have whole runs of wouldn't buy me really much. So I mean, I've got the
Oh.
whole Captain Marvel run that Marvel did in the 70s. So that whole run would get me. It's not getting me. Well, it's getting me a cheap used car, really cheap.
Yeah,
I do have an entire run of Savage Dragon from beginning to present day, but I don't even know now, honestly, if I sold it off, I could buy a Big Mac with what I'd get. So, and that pains me to say, but
well, the Image books, they've basically, licensed the hell out of everything else already, So
Yeah.
that's probably the next, the next tier of superhero films or anything is going to be those guys.
Yeah,
I mean, we saw a Spawn movie and stuff, but all the Rob stuff and whatever. It's one of those. They're going to milk it until there's no more money in it.
Right.
They're going to keep going, but the Marvel and DC stuff's all spoken for. So
Yeah. So Dan Lawless, I don't know if you guys have ever met, but he says he's enjoying your work, and he says it looks outstanding with your drawing and inking. So
thank you. That's very nice.
Yeah,
if you haven't drawn like daily in a while, and you got to go back to it, it's intimidating. But it's like a week, and then you're like, oh yeah, I remember how to do this.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, I'm an X-Men fan. That's what I grew up on, and I am also a completist. So I did go all the way back to get my X-Men #1, and then I have all the X titles. So all the variant covers, just about. I think there's a few smatterings of a couple of them that I don't have, but yeah, that was mine up until about 2 months ago, when they crossed that line, and I ditched all my. I canceled my entire subscriptions to all Marvel and DC characters. I'm strictly independent now, but for 44 years I collected X-Men. So yes, I'm kind of in that, and it's kind of heartfelt.
If you sold your entire X-Men collection, you could pay your house off, and I bet that would make your wife extremely happy.
Wouldn't make me happy.
If I had to
money you'd be saving every month.
If I had to let him go, I'd definitely hang on to the Neil Adams run and then the John Byrne run.
There you go.
Yeah, you couldn't pry those out of my hands, but
that's just it. I mean, there's certain ones. My big one was I bought a 9/0 slabbed X-Men #1, and then I cracked it open when Stan was still around, so I could get Stan to sign it, because for me that was my pinnacle. Yeah. And I got Stan to sign it down at MegaCon, and I'm glad I did, because I didn't get to meet him again. That was the last time. So, and it came back in 8.5. I lost a half a point, but it was happiness for me.
Yes, I would have done that too.
Oh yeah.
To get for Stan, for sure.
Yeah.
Aaron Lepresti would disagree.
Yeah, Aaron Lepresti wouldn't do it.
He doesn't like signatures on books, period. So him and I always
can see that,
have our debate on it.
Oh yeah, Aaron does not like
signatures. I can see that side of it. Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, for my campaigns, I sign all the stuff. I just do it. I don't say like, and if we hit this amount, I'll sign everything. I just sign everything. Yeah. And Aaron was like, when I was shipping First Man Volume 2, he was like, and don't sign it. And I was like, I won't. Shut up. But yeah, I mean, I could have had Stan. This was, I don't know, probably a decade ago. I was going to a con, and he was a guest there. And I asked the promoter, I said, hey, since I'm a guest as well, and you're the promoter, do you think you could just give him my copy of How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way and have him sign it?
Wow.
He's like, it's going to cost you $50 like everybody else. And I was like, okay. So I didn't do it. And now it's one of those things I kind of regret. And I wish I did.
Yeah, I just, maybe last year I would have, because obviously we all have that book, but I went back and I found it. I got a mint like first pressing of it.
Because, did you really?
Yeah, because that's how it was in the day. Like the soft cover ones now and everything. It's not the same vibe.
Oh no, So the one I was going to have him signed is a hardcover.
Yeah,
it's like a 6th or 7th printing. I've had it forever. It's not the one I had as a kid, but I have had this one for a very long time, and the dust jacket's torn, and I just love it because if I would have kept my hardcover from when I was a kid, that's probably what it would look like now. But I do have a soft cover, the reprint with the white cover. But I don't know if they have the store by you called Five Below. Have you heard of that store?
No, I'm in the mountains. There's nothing by me.
All right, well, Five Below is a store, just like the name. Everything in the store is $5 or below.
Oh,
right. So I was in there like a year or so ago looking around, and there's another reprint of it that has it's the same cover art, but it's blue.
I've never seen
The
that.
background's blue. Yeah. And it was $5. And I'm like, I got to get this just because it's a different.
I've never seen that. Yeah. Blue cover. That's strange. Yeah. I got drunk with Stan once.
No way.
Yeah. I don't know what year this is. Early, mid 90s, maybe 94-ish, something like that. Yeah. Marvel, they had a huge Christmas party at the Grand Hyatt. It was a massive space that basically in Grand Central Station. They have a hotel. And so their lobby is like the size of Grand Central. It's something ridiculous, And so they had a huge Christmas party with ice sculptures and video games and all this stuff,
Were the costumed X-Men walking around?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, they had some costumes.
I was there.
You were there?
I was there.
After the party ended, me and my assistant, we saw Sam was still hanging around. So we went up to him. He was there with his wife, and we started like chatting him up because this is basically they turned the lights on, everyone was walking out.
Yeah.
And we're like, but last call, we literally ordered a tray full of drinks, and me, Stan, his wife, and my assistant Pete, we drank until the sun came up, just talking fucking shit and stories.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So we just quizzed him on everything, and there's no story he wouldn't tell. He told us everything that we wanted to know. Like we gave us the inside scoop and all this. Like we were asking him all kinds of stuff from way back in the day. And he was holding court and just having a great, he's just a fun guy. But, my regret is that, I don't remember any of the stories.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
We sat there with a whole tray of drinks. I think we ordered 12 drinks. This is after the party was over or something. And,
that's the only place I ever met him was at that Christmas party.
Oh, yeah.
It was obviously during the party when, they kept it nice and dark inside. But he was just walking around, and I think I was talking to either Kelly Corvasi or another editor at the time, and Stan just kind of walked up. He was making rounds and said hi, and I was like, it's great to meet you. I drew this and whatnot for Marvel. So wow, that's so funny.
We were literally there until the sun came through the windows.
Wow.
Staff had left already. It was, but it's like an open space though, because it was part of the hotel complex is built on top of Grand Central. So it's still an open area, and the hotel was active and everything. So it's like, it's open 24 hours.
Yeah.
And, the sun came through and we're still holding drinks, and we were like, oh, I think we better go home.
Oh my God. That is so cool.
Yeah. It was an awesome day.
That is freaking cool. Bronze Age Kid. I had Stan sign my original Fireside Silver Surfer book. Oh, that's cool. I have that book. I love that book.
It is good.
I was the last in the line, and you made me feel like I was the only one there. That's awesome. Yeah, I remember that Silver Surfer graphic novel. I would check it out from my local library and then take it back. And then, if I would ask, is anybody waiting for this? Because, at our library, you could do a wait list or whatever. And if they said no, I'd be like, I want to check it out again. Because back then, I think there was only a week or two you had to, you could keep the book for. And I would just check it out again. That's what I did with the Marvel Way and other stuff too. So
Fireside books were super, super important. With the painted covers and everything by Romita. That was the first time I think I'd ever seen realistic superheroes. And you would just stare at those forever. I have all those books here. I just got them about a year ago. But it's I got those for Christmas, that year that they first came out. The Origins and Sons of Origins, and I got a copy of How to Draw the Marvel Way and like Origins, and I think my brother got Sons of Origins and something else, you know. But it was huge, you know. When you're like 10, those things are, you know, you just never forget them. You know, they're, you know, the superhero stuff was like, you know, hard to get. Any kind of merchandise, you know, you know, the toys were, you know, we had Mego figures and stuff like that, but it wasn't like everywhere, you know, it wasn't, there weren't that many, you know, there was a Spider-Man board game, you know, maybe a Fantastic Four board game. There wasn't like, you know, these days where you can just get whatever you want, you know, any kind of merchandise in those days was huge.
But I was going to say, to piggyback on what Bronze Age Kids was saying about Stan, you know, I remember seeing him there, and Stan had been there just talking to people for hours. And the handlers came up and they were like, Stan, you need to take a break. So we're cutting the line off right here. And it was between two people. And, you know, everybody behind him was like, oh, man, we've been standing in line. And Stan turned and looked at him and he goes, no, we're not. Every single person that's standing there in line right now, I'm going to talk to. I'm like, no, Stan, you've been in there. No, you can stop it after that last person, but I am going to sit there and talk to every person.
Yeah. I mean, I love Stan. He was, you know, what an ambassador for the whole industry and everything. But, you know, just the personality and the charm of the guy was just infectious. You know, like, you know, that guy who was in the, you know, bullpen letters and everything. That was the guy who he was. Around town. It was, you know, he was just an awesome person. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he wrote exactly how he talked, which was great.
Yeah, he's that guy. You know? I mean, he was that colorful and that engaging, and that, you know, that's the whole thing about Stan is like that, you know, the you know, the pitch man, you know, for Marvel. That's who he was. He was that guy. He wasn't like putting on an act. I mean, you know, Stan was like that in person. You know, and 1,000% genuine. It wasn't like, oh, let me put on an act or something. You know, it's just who he was. You know.
Yeah, totally. All right, let's. I got your campaign up. I want to watch the video, so I got to share the screen again. This time with audio.
There might be like 20 seconds in front of it where it's me. You know, you could probably skip ahead of that.
Yeah. Well, let's take a look.
Since I'm here.
That's right. I love that angle, by the way, on her you got going on
that
there.
I colored. That's my coloring. I do.
Oh, that's nice.
Excellent.
Yeah. All right, let's do this. Hold on, I gotta undo this.
We are gonna watch a teaser trailer that I made. It's an animatic video. It's a little crude. It's for fans of South Park or Archer or Rick. You're right there.
All right.
Hi, my name is Morgan Despair, and people say I'm the gloomiest, most miserably dire high school student in all of Sunnyside, Nebraska. And okay, maybe they have a point there. And this is Penny Pretty, better known as Penelope Powerhouse. And as you know, she's America's solar-powered teen superhero sweetheart. Penny represents all things wonderful and good and righteous and true. She has millions of fans all over the world who love her to death, and of course they do. Penny has perfect smile, perfect hair, perfect tits, and the perkiest ass anyone has ever seen. And she's even environmentally friendly. That's right, she farts pure hydrogen. One of us is the nicest, most kind-hearted person in the world. The other is a fucking bitch monster of galactic proportions. Naturally, we hate each other. How fucking lucky am I that we're the same person? Because while I was on vacation with my parents, I got this awful sunburn, and I vowed never to go into the sun again. But this infuriated an ancient mythical sun god who cursed me to suffer from a sunny disposition for the rest of my life. So by night, I'm my normal, wonderful self, but with every waking sun, solar-powered Penny takes over my body. And now, no one can see me or hear me while Penny spends every day ruining my life. You see, Penny Pretty, the super wonderful queen of virtue, got everything in her unlimited superpowers to irritate the living shit out of me. For my 16th birthday, she ruptured my boyfriend's ball sack while letting my filthy gym teacher bang me. Things get way worse from there. The two teen girls share a body without driving Adventures of Penelope Powerhouse, a brand new all-original graphic novel from full-blown psychosis.
Oh my God. I know I've watched it. I watched it when you first, put it up because I shared it for you and stuff. But that's hilarious.
That's bipolar to a whole new level.
Uh-oh. Oh, your mic's off.
Sorry, I thought I was hearing some echo. Yeah, that's the first video I ever made of anything. I had as I was making that video, I was basically inventing the story and the character and everything, but also figuring out how to animate things and record sound. I didn't know any of that. It was just like, I guess I'll figure it out.
Dude, that came out great.
It did.
That's cool. I'm looking forward to that because I think it looks really good. I like the concept and stuff. So, yeah, that's funny, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it's what I like to do. I like to do like the fun stuff.
Yeah.
I was just thinking like, I've got all these characters and IPs, of series that we were doing at my other company. And, I was like, what would I want to do? And I was like, yeah, I want to do humor, So yeah. I took the children's character and I just, I made it all grown up. And,
so was it the same premise when it was the children's character?
No, not at all. She was just a cute.
I was going to say.
Well, you could still have her being the same. She wasn't the same person or anything. That's totally like that.
No, it was nothing like that. She was just cute little superhero that helped, empower little girls, and it was just a wholesome little cutie pie book.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but I was like, well, I'll do it my way.
Dude, I could totally see that animated like Archer is and stuff.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping for. It's got. I think it's got all. I love the script that I wrote for the pilot. I think it's super rock solid. I think story-wise that everybody's going to be very, very, very happy with the content, and it's a complete story. It's not, it's a one-shot. It's you get the whole thing in one book. But yeah, I can't wait to draw that last panel and put this one all together, because I think I know when I write something good, and it's like everything in this one just bang on perfect for me. It's like I'm super happy story wise. Yeah, drawing's hard work.
Are you drawing it all traditionally, or are you digital now?
Mostly I am now digital to save time because I'm doing so much. To keep everything in the. I'm actually just drawing on this iPad that I'm looking into right now.
Oh yeah.
Usually, what I prefer to do is draw on paper and then maybe ink digital, because lettering and everything. It's easy to finish a page for me to do that digital. But I just prefer old school art. I'm happiest when got a crow quill, on the board and everything. But when you're doing so much of the publishing and all this other stuff that goes with it, the marketing and the crowdfunding and everything, you want to cut corners where you can to try to move things along, because you don't want to spend forever on it. You want to get it done.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I mean, I'm doing. First Man was half, whereas I drew it digital, but I inked it traditional because I just love having original art. And but Kor-Drath so far is all 100%. I just take out the board, take out the script, thumb down, and start drawing right on the board. So
yeah, so that's but then you got to bring it into the digital world to finish it too. And it's there's always.
But I mean, but honestly, you're right. There's the extra step of scanning and stuff, and then doing a little bit of touch up here and there for.
But then you have a piece of artwork, and that's a whole nother thing to have a page.
Yeah, that's just it.
It's it's a material possession. It's not like if you draw a book digital, you've got some files, and it's like not having anything. That's
right.
Weird,
It's just and that's why with First Man I did it. Basically drawing digital, inking traditional, and when they're done, I was like, had a stack of paper that was like, man, that's the whole book right there.
Yeah.
And I just, we broke in. I broke in 91, and I just, old school, love paper. So
yeah. Okay, I mean, it's the difference between like, doing like hands-on craftsmanship. It's you feel more like a carpenter or,
Right.
someone who works in the real world when because in those days we were taught by everybody that learned it from
Yeah.
someone, a real letterer, a real inker, a real guys who work with dip pens and
Yeah.
brushes and even to be bad at it, you have to be at a certain level,
Sure.
and these days with, digital cheats and everything, it makes it easier for people that, don't have that full skill set, to make things, music, anything, just
Yeah.
computers, make, apps and everything. But, everything's a trade-off, it's like, like anything else. Yeah.
I was trying to remember. I don't know how well your memory is with guys that inked you back when you were doing stuff in the early mid '90s.
I know who the best was.
What's that?
I know who the best was. It's Karl.
Oh, Carl's great.
Yeah, he's
Well, hopefully. Well, so a friend of mine, I think he might have inked you, but now I'm trying to remember. Brad Venkata. Does that ring a bell?
Wow. I think on a Superman job.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, and he used to color, right?
Yeah. Well, he started off as a colorist.
Right.
And then you know what? It was, this is so funny. Another kind of cross path between us. Was it the Superman annual during the whole Eclipso stuff?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
So one of my first gigs at DC, because that was that summer event with Eclipso.
Yeah.
So you did that Superman annual featuring Eclipso. I did the Green Lantern annual.
Oh, really?
Tied into the Eclipso story.
That's crazy.
So, but yeah, Brad started as a colorist. Yeah, that's it. That's the book.
Yeah,
yep.
That's wild.
There you go. So when we're off stream, you can say if you hated that or not. But on the
no. In those days, if a book was bad, it was my fault because I was still young, and in my early 20s, I was still like going out, and I was trying to be outside, more than like being tied to the drawing table. Is still, I lived in New York City.
Sure.
Like near the Village.
Yeah.
And, in the 80s, it was, kind of a rocking scene. So, I tried to be out and about as much as I could,
Sure.
Successfully too.
I mean, I know what you mean. I mean, I was living in Florida when I first got into the business, and I always tried to work a regular, during the day, basically, because all my friends had real jobs. Yeah. And they'd be off at 5:30. And if I wanted to hang out and go to a bar in Orlando or something with them, because I was single then, all of us were, I was like, well, I guess I'm drawing during the day. So
where did you live in Florida? Is that me? What's going on? That's my phone. I'm sorry. Where did you live in Florida?
Well, I say it was the Orlando area, but the actual city was Castleberry, which was.
I lived in Florida when I was 11 to 12.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for just like a year and a half. And I lived in this tiny, tiny, tiny town. And I bring this up because Dan Panosian, who I met in the office, he mentioned he was from Florida. And I was like, oh, I live in Florida. Like, and he was like, oh, well, where? And I said the name of the town, which is called India Atlantic. It's if it's 8 blocks, I'd be shocked. It's the tiniest little place in all of Florida. And he was like, get the fuck out of it. Because that happened to be where he was from. And I was like, no, dude. I went to Hoover High School for 3 months. And he was like, really? And I was like, it's so weird because it was like the one tiny little spot. And it's such a tiny town. It's like on the inlet, in Melbourne between the Atlantic Ocean and the Indian River, which is why it's called India Atlantic. But it's like nowhere. If you're driving through it, and you'd miss it you'd miss it. You just go right through it. It's so small.
That's funny because when I met Dan when I was living there. What's up, Alex? And I don't think he ever actually called it. I think because it was such a small place, it was easier for him just to say Melbourne. because I don't
Oh,
remember
really?
that at
Yeah.
all. Yeah.
No, yeah, because I didn't know Melbourne, because Melbourne's on the other side of the river. You got to go over the bridge to
Yeah.
get to Well, it's Melbourne County,
Yeah.
but but the town is, like I said, it's just it's not even a one-horse town. I've been there more recently though, like driving to Miami and everything, maybe 8 years ago or so, and I stopped there to see the old house.
Wait, did you drive from where you live now all the way?
No,
to
no, I
Miami?
was in
Okay.
Alabama. I was in Alabama, and then I drove to Miami to go meet my brother.
Okay.
And so but I have done that drive, not from New Hampshire. I've done from New York to Miami a few times.
Oof, that's a long drive.
In one sitting too.
Well, I mean, when I was, back then, I would drive from Orlando to Maryland, where I grew up, to visit my parents and stuff. And it was like 12, 13 hours. Same thing, just one sitting, just stop for gas, and that was it. But
yeah, and you'd be surprised, how long Florida is, because from New York to Florida, you're like, oh, we have Florida, but then to get to Miami, it's still the rest of another day.
Totally. I think from the top of Florida, the Georgia line to Miami, that's at least another 5?
It's 6 hours or something.
5 or 6.
That. No, I'm not 100% sure, but I know I was tired, and even went to Miami was it was daunting, but
Yeah.
Plus, 95 sucks. It's always bad traffic. I mean, chances are we used to go down for all the conventions and stuff, and I dread driving down anywhere down there. And we were just at the Keys a couple of times, and
traffic in Florida, is rough, because I've got a 10-year-old. I'm a single dad, so taking her to Disney and stuff like that, and trying to drive around Orlando and everything with all the tolls and everything coming in and out. It's a hassle.
Yeah.
Let's look at some more of the pages you sent over. So here's some more stuff. So we're just going to be showing some more art from Penelope Powerhouse. The link is in the description. Randy's been posting it like a champ. So if you haven't yet, go sign up to the email list for it so you can be notified upon launch. I think it looks fantastic. It definitely looks like a really fun book.
It does.
And dude, the lettering, man, I'm jealous. I cannot letter that well.
I just have to.
I hear you. I just, I'm kind of like, I work with, and people that watch the channel know this because I always say it, but I work with my buddy Steve Dutro, who I went to the Kubert school with, and it's kind of like when I was growing up. Well, when I was a teenager and driving, I'm the type where it's like, oh, I need an oil change, I'll go get it done. Whereas my brother's the type going, oh, I'll just do it myself. And I'm the type where it's like, oh, I need something fixed around the house. I could probably figure out how to do it, but I'd rather have somebody come and do it, because then I feel like, I'm hiring somebody, they're getting paid because they need to work and whatever. Whereas my brother's the total opposite of me. He's like, I'll figure out how to do it myself, and
that's
when it comes to lettering, I'm just like, it's the same with the coloring. It's like you can color, I can color, but it takes me so long. It's just not. It's not worth it.
Yeah, I did a few pieces to give my colorist an example of what I was shooting for. I wanted very, very bright, open, saturated look, and like I said, they're always blue. It's always and there's always a little tiny bit of a glow on the Penelope character.
Yeah,
there's no K-tones anywhere in the book. We don't shade with gray. That's against the rules. We just want to keep everything saturated. So if she needs to do some shading or something, she's got to use a purple or a blue or something. No K-tones, which are gray tones for everybody.
Right.
In commercial art.
Thank you, Andy.
Well, I know you're not an artist, so I wanted to keep you in the loop and didn't think we were talking over you.
Whoa,
K-tones are
stick figure.
The CMYK.
That's 4-color process, Dennis.
Yeah. And
wait, cyan, magenta. Yeah. Wow, he just mansplained it to me.
I did. Just because it's on the top of my mind. Chris, how tall are you?
Tall? 5'10", I think.
Oh, you're my height.
Yeah.
You're a normal sized gentleman,
Uh,
Yeah.
unlike the freakishly sized monster I'm sitting next to.
All right. How big is he?
I'm only 6'1". It's not like
That's
I'm
not
that
too bad.
tall.
I
My
thought you were
girlfriend's brother's
6'2".
6'4".
Are you
No,
deducting some
I
now?
am shrinking. No, I've always been 6'1". You know, I've got a friend that's 6'7", and then we've got a friend who's 7'1". So
No.
yeah,
Really?
so it's great when we do the conventions. You know, I have these huge
Wow.
racks because we did toys and comics, and then Big Carl, everybody.
Oh,
So
Karl,
shout out
yeah.
to Big Carl, and I'd have to
Karl.
go get my stool to go stand up. I'm 6'1", so I'm not short, but you know, I'd have to get a stool to go stand up and pull everything off. Carl would be like, "So little man, do you just want me to
Wow.
reach up there?" And he'd just stand there and hand them to you. I'm like, "Dude, you just saved me all this time, thanks."
Yeah, Karl. You're talking about Karl being 7'1",
Yeah.
right? Yeah, Karl's 7'1", dude. When he's at a convention set up,
Wow.
you can see him from across the way.
Funniest guy too. He's just a blast. I always buy some old great indie comics from him. He's always got some of the best old stuff.
So you look up to him.
Yes.
Now, did you understand what Alex put up there?
Yes, I did. It's a D&D term.
Wow, I'm so impressed because I didn't want to have to mansplain what a +1 mace would be.
You don't. What's up, Luke? How you doing?
Luke's in the house.
So what does Mr. Chris like to do in his spare time when it's not funny books? What hobbies do you have?
Oh man. Well, you know, I live in New Hampshire, and where it's gorgeous. Like it's a scenic drive in any direction where I live. So you know, when the weather's nice, we like to be outside. You know,
Yeah.
so it's you know, I like to be at the lakes and everything. Because once winter starts, it's harsh. You know,
I was going to say, so then do you like I mean, you chose to live there, so I guess the winters don't bother you, or?
Well, no, I mean, you just need, well, you get to go skiing every week if you want. You know, there are things to do if you like, winter outdoor activities. But there's all that kind of stuff. But you just also have to make sure that you have indoor hobbies. You got to like to read.
Yeah,
Or I'm an audiophile. Music is everything. I've got my stereo going.
Yeah, we know. I noticed your setup back there. I was actually going to ask you before we got on, but that's nice looking.
Yeah, it's like the main pieces are like kind of mint cherry 1978 pieces.
Wow.
Yeah, but I have music on more than I have television on. I've got a big giant TV here, and I just much prefer to sit in front of the fire and have music. That's the whole thing. And I could do that, and if I'm by myself, I'm fine with that. Like I could just listen to music for hours and hours and hours on end. But when your girlfriend's around, you're like, hey, come on, let's do something. But but if you have some indoor hobbies, like I like to play guitar a little bit. I could always draw, but if that's work, I don't want to also do that for off. But if I'm drawing, an actual job. But if you have some indoor hobbies, like you're okay, you'll get through that. It's that after the holidays, where January, February, and and it could be cold into April here.
Yeah.
So it's like holidays are over, but then it stays cold, for quite some time. And so so what we like to do is usually we take our vacation in first week of February.
Sure.
So to break that up. And then when you come back, you could suffer through another couple of months of cold, that type of thing.
So do you have a snow blower or shovel?
Both. I've got, because this is not, it was news to me. I have a snow blower and I think half a dozen snow shovels. Sometimes, a stranger will be walking by and be like, hey, come shovel.
Dude, man, I tell you, I lived in Syracuse in the 90s. That's where I met my wife, and it was brutal in the winter. And like you said, if you're into skiing or snowmobiling or any of that stuff, it's great. But neither one of us is into that stuff. And she grew up there. She's been skiing before, but it's not something she was like in love with doing. It's like, oh, it's finally snowing. Let's go. So we were like just stuck indoors.
Right. We're my wife and I, we're from Wisconsin. So I mean,
there you go.
I mean, we grew up with this stuff. I mean, we had it. Snowbanks were so high you could actually tunnel into them and stuff like that and make huge forts. I mean, that's just the way it was. And we moved around for work, so we've moved 15 times over the
Wow.
years, and we landed here, and everybody's like, "Oh, once you guys get to Charlotte, you're never going to leave there." I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, within 6 months, we were like, "Oh my God, we get all 4 seasons." But we only get snow once or twice, maybe 3 times a year, and it's not that much usually. And we're just like, you know what? Yeah, we're done. So we stayed here, and I've got my 2 shovels from up north, and that I got rid of everything else.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. Because, like I said, if you're not if you don't know what you're getting yourself into, and you don't have those kind of like indoor hobbies to occupy,
Right?
you're, I could see people getting stir crazy.
Oh
you
yeah.
know, but then, you got like, okay, you got like a winter that's 5 months, but then like the other, the whole rest of the time, it's like being on vacation because, it's just really nice in every direction. I like to motorcycle is one of my favorite things to do,
Oh,
just
that's
to get
cool.
to get out of the house. And up here, I can't pick a bad road. I mean, everything's gorgeous. It's like, so, for me, it's just really awesome. I love, if you work from home, as you know, oh, it's such a beautiful day. Well, let's go to the lake. Let's go to the beach. Let's go fishing, and you can
Sure.
do all there. Let's go hiking, and everything's right around you. I've
That's
got
cool.
end of my street. There's like a stream where we could walk the dogs and walk through it and everything. It's just nice to be here, especially if you're from the city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like anything, you basically kind of wait, until you retire to go somewhere where you're like, it's just nice to be there. And
Yeah.
so, I'm here now. So, I'm happy enough.
And see, up in Wisconsin, I was an audiophile too. I mean, I was an Onkyo fan, so I had all the big Onkyo with the Sherwin Vega DX9s, 15-inch woofers, cutouts. The walls would shake, and my wife would just get so pissed at me. But
Yeah.
I also had all the surround sound at that time running through it. So Top Gun would come on there, and the entire windows would just start shaking. But that was winter. I loved it,
Yeah.
and I could sit there and do it because all my music I could play all day long. And then I had kids.
Yeah. So
That's
I'm
right.
old school. I only do stereo, and
Yeah.
above that, up here is a subwoofer, and even that's like a little taboo, for the old school guys.
Yep.
But I need it for certain records that don't have that bottom end, and because also I grew up, in the 70s where
Yeah.
there were block parties and disco and everything, and if that bass is not in there, the room's got to move.
Yes.
Oh
you
yeah.
know, for you to really experience music. It's got to hit you in the chest. I hate these little headphones.
Yes.
Like it's got to be
Totally
pushing
agree.
air. It's literally got to be pushing air. If you're not feeling it through your whole body, then you're not listening to music.
Well, you remember the commercial with the dude sitting in the
Yeah.
chair sideways, and then what was that?
Memorex.
Memorex. Yeah.
Was
Yeah.
it live or was it Memorex?
Yeah.
Hair blown back.
Yep.
Yeah, great.
Yep. So do you have a big album collection then?
I made a decision to go back. Yeah, because I only listen to complete records. I don't just listen to music. I listen to albums only. So I
Right.
listen to full albums. And my medium of choice, I have some vinyl, but really I went back to CD
Okay.
about 2 years ago, maybe, I think. And just because I just still think that was the last great format for music that sounded great.
Yep.
But, at the same time, it's still hard media. I basically got fed up with streaming because, they're always playing a bad mix of a record or a remix. It's not like the version you want to hear. And it's like, oh, don't play the stereo version. I'm like that.
Right.
Like if I'm listening to the Beatles, I hear it on the radio and they're playing like, a stereo mix when there's a better mono one, that makes me upset. And then the other thing where they make everything 10% faster so they could squeeze commercials in, that just makes me
Yes.
crazy. So I'm a hard media guy. I like Blu-rays. I like, CDs and vinyl and stuff like that.
See, I'm the same way. I get laughed at. I just got Top Gun Maverick in 4K.
Me
And
too.
they're like, why don't you just download it digitally? I'm like, because it's not the same. I was a Laserdisc guy. Still am. I love Laserdisc. I still think it's the best
I just
format.
watched it.
There it is.
Okay. It literally just
That
gets
is what we're doing when we get back from Nashville. That is exactly it. I still get my hard copies, and they laugh at me.
I missed it in the theater too. So for me,
Oh.
yeah, I
it's
missed it in
on
the theater.
theaters
So
down here.
I was, it was like I was really looking forward to, because all the new movies that come on Netflix. I think like on your best day you get something that's okay.
Right.
Yes.
Like, I did see a good movie on Netflix a week or two ago, the All Quiet on the Western Front, but it was a foreign film.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
my wife and I just watched it. We
it's great.
love those.
Yeah, but
It was good.
But the vast majority of the stuff that comes out on streaming service is like it's bad. It's in TV movies that are not great.
Oh
basically.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm with you there. They're hard media. So favorite album?
Ooh, well, that's going to be Dark Side of the Moon. Although I need to preface that with saying that I'm the world's biggest Beatle fan. Like that's I'm the Beatles are the be all end all of rock music for me. However, if I had to pick one record, I would probably say that Dark Side.
Wow.
That one record is spectacular.
Nice.
Yep. I do enjoy it. My Operation Mindcrime, Crean's right.
Oh, Metalhead.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I am. I mean, everything. Glam.
Mindcrime.
They ever since the early 80s heavy metal explosion out in LA, hairband. I mean, I literally just went and saw Poison, Motley Crue, Def Leppard, Joan Jett, that concert.
Oh, the new one.
I mean, I've seen Iron Maiden more times than I like to admit. AC/DC is one of my favorite groups, but Operation Mindcrime, that
the best metal
album
record
is
ever.
just magnificently produced, and it tells such a fantastic story.
That's my favorite metal record of all time. I think it's the best metal record of all time. And I saw them do Mindcrime live.
Yeah,
that was great. But that record, like because I was a metalhead too. Is as a matter of fact, I had long hair until just a couple of years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago or something.
hey, same here.
Well, yeah, but when it starts to thin out, what are you going to do? You got to let it go. But like Mindcrime was like the only metal record, like after metal died and everyone was laughing at it. That's that one record that I would still play. I'd never stop.
Yes.
So.
I saw it when they opened for Metallica, and that first time that I had seen them, and I was so pissed because they were playing Mindcrime all the way through. They were out there, and all the Metallica fans booed them off the stage because they only wanted to see Metallica. So after 30 minutes, Chris DeGarmo and Jeff Tate came out. They flipped off the entire audience because they got booed off the stage. I'm sitting there, hey, asswipes, I actually want to see this. And I was outnumbered. And, that was the first time I had saw him. So I made sure I'd had to go see him other times so I could actually see it live.
Was that when I'm trying to think of when those two albums match up.
Masters of Puppet, I think it was.
No, that would be too early. Justice for All.
Oh yeah, it was because it was one.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah, I met Hetfield in a bar when he was touring for that record.
Oh, that's cool.
Well, in New York City, it's like
Oh.
You got to go drink somewhere. Right?
That's right.
Yep.
Everybody's got to be somewhere.
That's right.
That's awesome.
That's very cool. Well, since Randy pointed out that Kor-Drath is only, and I was about to show it anyhow, Kor-Drath is only $125 away from 65,000, guys.
Killing it.
Let's get on it.
And you know what? Share the link. We have been shadow banned.
Yep.
So we are very not happy with them with this. So you guys get to help us out by sending the link directly to everybody you know. Make sure you back this because you know what? If they don't want to promote it, we'll promote ourselves.
That's right. Even more is what we should say. Lots of stuff here to choose from. 5 different covers, 2 different t-shirts, a beanie. Who doesn't need a Kor-Drath beanie?
Speaking of heavy metal, look at that. Look at that t-shirt.
Look at that shirt. You got the Bud Root t-shirt. Look at that variant cover by Mr. Bud Root. Like I said, the beanie. Get yourself a nice Kor-Drath beanie. Tons of stuff to look at. Guys, go check out the campaign if you haven't yet. There's a couple pages up there in full color with lettering, so you can actually read a little bit as well. More pages have been sent to the colorist, so we're just waiting to get those back. This is one that is at the colorist right now, and the page after this too is there, as well as page 1 is finally complete as well. So go check this out, guys. Give it a back if you would. If you already backed it, like I said, get yourself a t-shirt or something.
Buy us a
always
beer
stuff.
because we will, when we get to the brewery, we will do our live stream when that's all done, and we will name off all those beers as Andy and I sit there and get drunk and talk to you guys. I mean, what more can you ask for in a live stream?
Exactly. A drunk, stupid Dennis. My God. Only I've gotten to see that now. You can see it too. So
Whatever.
a drunk falling over himself.
But now we do have to let them know about tomorrow, because tomorrow is big news.
Andy, the big Kor-Drath closeout is tomorrow night.
As if you read our minds.
It's like you read our minds. It is tomorrow night. Ignore this. This says 2 days left. Indiegogo is supposed to adjust that, so it actually will go in demand tomorrow night at midnight Pacific time.
Because we will not be around this
That's
weekend.
right.
We are going to be in Nashville seeing Steven Crowder and Dave Landau live. And unfortunately, I can't clone myself, which I know you all would like, but there's only one of me right now.
And his wife is so thankful for that, as is mine. And as am I glad. So tomorrow night, we are going to go on around 6 o'clock, maybe. Stay tuned. I'm going to set up a graphic, so it's pre-set up, so you guys will know. We're going live tomorrow night. We'll have a couple surprises for the campaign.
Where's the closeout party? Randy wants to know. You know what? If you guys are local, we can have closeouts. I'll be streaming from my house.
And I'll send you guys his address.
And I'll have a party. Andy will be over here. We'll just throw a big old party. But, maybe we can send some links out. We'll get some peeps on there, and we will have a blast.
That's right. And guys...
And we'll be announcing some interesting stuff.
Oh, yeah. There's announcements
some
tomorrow.
Firsts that you guys know nothing about. Oh,
I know. Exciting.
No.
So go sign up for Penelope Powerhouse. That link is in the description as well. Chris, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
I
Appreciate
hope it was good for you as it was for us. I need
awesome.
to go have a cigarette now. I'm spent.
Your poor wife.
I don't understand that reference.
I go do pontificators after this.
There you go.
Yes.
See, you got something to do. All right, brother. We will talk to you later. Next week, our guest is Steve Dye of Rocket Magazine. He's coming on. He's got Rocket Magazine #2 right now on Indiegogo. We're going to talk to him about Rocket Magazine. I got the first one last year.
Looks cool.
I love comic book magazines with articles and stuff like that. So join us next week at 5 o'clock as we talk to Steve about that. And until that time, we'll catch you guys later. Bye, everybody.
Live long and prosper, everyone.